well, there's no platform to celebrate them. And we were seeing people, I'm like, oh, that one's Ghanaian, oh, this one's Ghanaian, oh, this one's African. And then he was like, why don't we do an award ceremony to celebrate? And I was like, yeah, why not? And we came out with GUBA. We were scribbling, and GUBA, he was like, Ghana, UK-based Achievement Awards. I was like, wow, that sounds good. And then he was like, okay, so who can we call to be part of it? And so I decided to call some friends that I knew. So I knew that Alison was an administrator. I knew that Abna was into marketing. So I was just picking people in different fields.
Yeah.
And then we all came together. So I think our first meeting was in my house. And I was like, guys, this is the idea. What do you think? And they're like, yeah, brilliant. Let's do it. I was like, really? They're like, yeah, let's go. So, sometimes God brings you destiny helpers, and you don't even realize, you say something into existence, but then you're not sure of how to go about it or who's going to help you do it, who's going to help you achieve it. But then he brings people. And they're all like, yeah. And I was like, guys, this thing is not going to be paid because there's no money anywhere. Yeah. And they're like, no, cool. This is for Ghana. We love the idea and we think we should go for it. So at the time, looking for sponsorship, I remember at the time it was Libera and Leica that was quite big in the system. Contacted them. I think Libera or Leica, one of them gave us like £500. I think the whole awards was costing us about £5,000. And I was like, what are we going to do? We've set the date. People are coming. People are booking. Don't have enough money. And so we sold our car. And obviously, as I said, at the time, I had a son, and at the time, Nakwari was probably 2. And I remember after we sold the car and we put the money into the awards, and I had to go shopping with this 2-year-old. And I was like, hey, how do I carry, how do people do it without having a car? And it taught me that sometimes you do have to sacrifice. And it's in the Bible, you have to sacrifice.
Yeah.
And that was one of the sacrifices that we had to give up. And it was for the greater good. Look, we sold out 3 weeks to the awards. The tickets that we sold were added to the awards to make it happen. And it was just, we had Osibisa there, we had Channel 4 there, we had the Ghana Black Star, that's Samoa Jan, all the Black Stars, top Black Stars there, and just great people in one great room, and we celebrated. And it was just amazing. We were in tears at the end of the awards show. And I remember actually, we ordered the awards trophy and they didn't arrive on time. So on the day, I had to go and buy an awards trophy that we had to rotate round. So we give it out on the stage. I remember Sonny Badu was one of the awardees, and I was like, Sonny, so I went backstage, I was like, Sonny, I have to take the award back. He's like, oh, how? Dentaa? I was like, Charlie, I've only got one and I have to rotate it. When the awards come, I'll bring you, the trophy. And he's like, okay, no problem. So that was, that was a very difficult time, because obviously people want to take their awards home. So even doing pictures, we had to, give it to people, take your picture and give it back to us. And oh my God, it was
humble. That's humble beginnings.
Definitely humble beginnings. And then what else happened after that? So then, we continued with the GUBA, and then afterwards, GUBA began becoming pregnant with other things. Yeah. So there were other things being born. So we had the GUBA careers, where the GUBA careers looked at, people that were in Ghana, the businesses that were in Ghana that wanted to recruit people from the diaspora back home. And that was a great, another great initiative. Again, it came from my husband. What I must say is that every single idea that has come out from what everyone thinks is Dentaa, but it's actually from my husband. He's the brainchild behind everything. I'll say he's the pillar behind everything. And without him, and obviously we know God's there, but without my husband being on the ground, the person there, none of what I'm doing would be possible. And so I always want to say that, you know, Yawa Jari, you have been, the backbone, the rock, the foundation of everything that, you know, we've been able to achieve with GUBA. And of course, apart from having a solid team, you know, when you're doing these things, you need a team. You need a team that you'll be able to delegate, because you can't do it on your own. You know, I know everybody says, you know, Dentaa. Yes, I am doing a lot. But you do have to have a team to be able to push the narrative. You know, sometimes you have to do it with people. You can't do it alone.
Yeah.
Especially when God gives you visions and ideas. Sometimes they're too big for just one person to do it alone. You have to be able to share that dream and invite people along with you on that journey. Then we birthed the GUBA Expo, which is about, you know, promoting made in Ghana products into the UK market. What we managed to do was to get the likes of ASOS, Body Shop, Tesco's, and who else? And a few others to come and, you know, see some of the products that we have and see whether we can be able to enter the market. So we managed to get about 5 of them on the ASOS marketplace, which was fantastic. But one of the challenges that we had, pardon me, at the time was someone like Tesco's. They needed high volumes of products. You can't just go to Tesco and say, oh, I've got this product and I can turn over 10,000. They're looking at large volumes because Tesco is big. And so one of the things that I tried to do was to try and get some of the organizations to come together to do the product. But as you know, in our community, it's hard because a lot of people, everybody wants their name on it. Nobody wants to come out with, you know, a new name, and, you know, everybody wants to be the CEO or the boss. And so that was very difficult. We didn't manage to get anything into Tesco when we had the opportunity to, because it was very difficult to get people to work together. And I think that's what some of the things that we're facing right now, when you know, in our current situation, when you're talking about Black Lives Matter and all of these things that are happening. It's been a very emotional 2 to 3 weeks or a month. But really, you know, as Black people, do we love each other? Are we supporting each other? Are we pushing each other forward? Those are the questions that actually we need to be asking ourselves. We know that there have been Black businesses. You know, now people are sharing list of Black businesses that you can purchase items from. But we've known that. You've always known that there's a Black person selling this thing. But have you purchased? Why did it have to take us this long to be able to say that we're supporting each other? So, you know, with GUBA, then we started the GUBA Foundation, which is supporting families living with autism. One of our big campaigns, I'm Not Your Stigma. We actually did an event at Parliament where we invited leaders from the church. We invited families who were living with autism, and we invited some of the MPs to basically listen to what families were going through. And it, you know, it was such a great event. We didn't just have African parents. We had Indians, we had Muslims, we had people that came we all go through the same things. You know? They were all going through the same things when, you know, having a child with autism. We also did a church tour. So we did a church tour where we went to different churches to talk about autism, because a lot of families who have children with autism are in the church. And what some of their issues were that, you know, sometimes we want to bring our children, but there's no sensory rooms for them. You know, and you know, how do some of the churches And, you know, for what we did, we've managed to get a couple of the churches turn their churches and have, you know, sensory toys and stuff like that for children who have autism in their church. Then we've done infant mortality. We've raised money to buy incubator in one of the hospitals in Ghana. And in 2007, I think 17 or 18, I can't remember. Yvonne, you might have to correct me. I can't remember when Prince Charles came to Ghana, but we had a call from the British High Commissioner. Well, before that, 2016, I was awarded my MBE Queen. And after that, I think a year or two after that, I think it's 2018. I can't remember.
2018 it is Dentaa.
2018, okay. Yeah. 2018, we had a call from Ian Walker, who's the British High Commissioner to Ghana, and said, you know, Dentaa, we want GUBA to organize Prince Charles's birthday dinner.
Birthday, yeah, I remember that one.
And I was like, GUBA? He said, yeah. I was like, Prince Charles? He's like, yeah. I was like, okay, yeah, we can do that. He's like, you sure then, so you can do this? Like, you know, and I was like, yeah, we can do this. You know, like sometimes you get a call, you're just like, hey, me, like, hey, do I fit the criteria? Okay, sure. And that's how I even met Yvonne, actually, through that. And oh God, it was a big challenge for us, but we nailed it. I would say that
you did.
It was one of the biggest events in Ghana, and it was one of the most memorable events for me. And I remember, you know, I wanted to promote our fashion at the event, and we did it so eloquently well. Yeah. You know, we had the mixture of, you know, the Oswald Boateng, we had Edward and Info there, and we had our local Ghanaians who are doing extremely well in the fashion industry. All get the chance for the royals to see our print and, you know, our fashion, and a lot of media that was there at the time. And then, you know, last year was our 10th anniversary as GUBA, as an organization. And again, we got a beautiful letter from Prince Charles congratulating us on our 10th year anniversary. Which was really humbling. And then we took the USA for an organization. So one day, as it happens, you know, sitting down, I was like, how are we going to celebrate our 10th year anniversary? What can we do different that we haven't done? And I said to my husband, I think that we should do the awards in America. I was like, hey, well, no, America saying like, how? Like, and I was like, yeah, I think America. And he's like, okay, when in America? I was like, the only time I can think of that there's going to be a lot of people is during the UN General Assembly. Yeah. All the presidents are there, all the ministers, everybody that you want, everybody's there. And then he was like, okay, all right, let's pray about it. And I told the team, I was like, guys, we're doing the awards in the US. They're like, but we don't have a team in the US. And I was like, yeah, because you guys are going to do it in the US. They're like, huh? They're like, what? I was like, yeah, we can do it. But we managed to get some volunteers in the US who are helping us. But the majority of work, because we know GUBA, the team were handling most of the things. And again, it was an incredible evening. We had our president, Nana Akufo-Addo, there. We had the ECOWAS president. We had ministers from Madagascar. We had ministers from Gambia. Oh, so many amazing people. And that's when we launched the rebranding of GUBA, which is Grow, Unite, Build Africa. And when you look at, you know, everything that we've been doing as an organization, we have been growing businesses through the expo. We have been building people up. So we do seminars. So when you talk about the GUBA careers, we've been linking people. And we've been united. We've been building, you know, so everything that we're about as an organization. When I was looking at changing the new name, I was like, we're going to stick to GUBA, but we just have to find what we do as an organization that will fit this. And we came up with Grow, Unite, Build Africa, and it was just perfect. And so, you know, we've grown as an organization. We are doing, I mean, now we're doing more online because of lockdown. We've had to change the way in which we do things. I think obviously the coronavirus came as a surprise to everyone. And so what strategies are you going to put in place now? What are you going to be able to do to maintain your organization?
Yeah.
And so we've been doing online seminars, a lot of them, especially, and also on my brand, you know, with the Dentaa show, how do I engage with my audience now that there is a lockdown?
Yeah.
And, you know, having meaningful conversations that need to be had and need to be looked at. And so I guess that's me in a nutshell. I don't know if I've missed anything out, I probably have. And apart from, obviously I have 4 kids. All my children have Ghanaian names, which is very important to me. So I have Nokwari, I have Adansie, I have Iria, and I have Enijie. And for me, I'm also on the Ghana Tourism Board. Yes, that's another thing. So I'm on the Ghana Tourism Board. I was part of the Year of Return. So we you know, did a lot of stuff for the Year of Return. I'm also on the steering committee for the Beyond the Return. Yeah, loving the tourism. I mean, you know, when you talk about tourism, we are all promoters of Ghana. When you wear something made in Ghana, when somebody stops you and says, oh, where did you get that from? Oh, it's made in Ghana. You've sold your country. It doesn't have to be the government that's promoting their country. You alone can do that. You know, when somebody asks my son or my daughter, where's your name from? Oh, my name's from Ghana. It means this. They say it. So those are all forms of promoting our motherland, promoting Africa. And I think I'll end there.
Okay. So can we unmute ourselves? And then if anybody's got a question, I'm sure you've been dying, you know, you've got so many questions for Dentaa. So if anybody's got a question, if you can fire it. So you can unmute yourself.
Can we ask people to raise a hand? So you can.
Yes, you can raise your hand. We can see you.
We don't have everybody speaking at the same time.
Yes. So, questions? You guys are quiet. Why? Well, I'll start with my question. I always say to myself that, how does she do it? You know, it's good. You talked about your husband's help and also prayer. I know you're a very, very prayerful person, which is very, very good. But I just always say to myself that, how does she do it? How does she get all these ideas? And to be honest, whatever you do is excellent.
Thank you.
There's not a single time that Dentaa has done something that is, it's always another level. So how do you do it? That's my question.
So when I get this question, I really don't know how to answer it. Honestly, it's just by His grace. And I don't know. Sometimes when it comes to me, like if I don't deliver, it's like, I don't feel good. Like I have to, when something comes to my mind, I have to deliver it, and I have to find a way of delivering it. And it's having that solid foundation, having that support system, and having the team to be able to drive, and you know, people that are positive around you, you know, not having negative people around you. Yes, it's good to, you know, give constructive criticism, but not be negative, because that drowns the soul and you know, the idea that you may have. And so I guess it's just having really positive people around me that, you know, give me, if it needs criticism, they give me constructive. Don't just come and say, oh, this is not good. But tell the person the reasons why and what they could do. Don't just say, oh, it's not good, but give them a reason and give them a solution.
Yeah.
You know, which I think is really, really important. And so I think that's how I've been able to manage. And definitely, you know, prayer is key. You have to do everything in prayer.
Okay. So Adjoa has raised her hand. So Adjoa, can you fire your question? Adjoa, can you hear us?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, can you
I can hear her.
You can hear her. Okay, go on, ask your question.
My question is, Dentaa, thank you for that speech and that talk. It was very inspiring.
Thank you.
What would you tell your younger self in regards to being an entrepreneur and starting your own business? If you had any advice, like if you go back to talk to your younger self, what would be the key piece of advice you'd give?
What I would tell my younger self is that, and what I keep telling myself now is that anything is possible, and everything is possible. You know, we are all, look, when a child is born, everybody has a fresh, you don't know what you're going to be, you don't know what you're going to do, right? And so it's really about having a positive mind and not taking no for an answer. And when you do get no for an answer, that doesn't mean that you should give up. I think that's one of the issues that we have, is that when somebody tells us no, we close the chapter. But actually the chapter doesn't need to be closed. The chapter just needs to be rewritten. And, you know, and sometimes that person was not the person that you're supposed to get help from. You know, there's a journey to life. And I feel like, I always, my children, I always encourage them to be who they are and to be able to speak out and have confidence. One of the things that we lack in our community, especially, is confidence. When you compare a Nigerian to a Ghanaian, even if a Nigerian doesn't know what they are doing or what they are about, they have the confidence. And that's why even with our music industry, they're getting way more ahead. Not that their music is even better than us, but it's that they have the confidence to go and maybe ask somebody to call Jay-Z or ask somebody, you know, they have the confidence to do that, you know, and we should be able to have confidence and instill confidence in our children, and you know, people who are our nieces, our, you know, cousins, because it's so important. You need to have that confidence and believe in what you are saying for somebody to believe in what you're saying. Do you understand? So tell your young self, be confident, be assertive, and don't let a no bring you down. You know, one of my things that I always say, that ships don't sink because of the water that gets in them, right? A ship only sinks because of the water that gets in them. The things that you allow to get in you will sink you. Understand? So whatever you put on board, when somebody says something negative, sometimes you don't realize it. Look, mental health is a big thing. We don't know what it's causing in our brains and the emotions that is making us feel. So when you allow those negative things in, it brings you down, it brings your spirit down. You lose your confidence. You don't want to go out. You don't want to speak to anybody. You get emotional. And that sinks you. And that's exactly how ships sink, because of the water that gets into them. And that's just how you should look at life. Whatever you bring on board in your brain, whatever it is that you're watching, sometimes you watch something, you're just like, oh my God, I wish I never watched that. Because you're going to sleep thinking, oh my God, it's disturbing you. So you need to think positive, read positive books, like just be around positive people. And for me, I don't know whether anybody follows me on my social media, but my Instagram, every morning has to be a motivational message. Because our mornings are so important. Okay, that's the beginning of the day, you know. And so you need to have either a positive scripture or a positive motivation to just take your day off. And so that's what I would tell my younger self.
Thank you very much. That was awesome.
Thank you so much. That's great.
Okay, Obed's raised his hand. So Obed, can you ask your question?
Yes, please.
Yes, go on.
Auntie Dentaa, you've spoken a lot about your life and what you've been through, and it's very inspirational. But I wanted to ask that what is one of the biggest hurdles you had to overcome in your
Yes.
journey to where you are right now, and how did you overcome it? And also, I watched from your interview with Ochame Kwame that you were dyslexic.
I am
I wanted
not
to ask
where.
that.
Wow.
I am not
You are
where.
dyslexic, yes. I wanted to ask that, how did you deal with it? And especially in our part of the world, what advice would you give to young people and also parents as well?
Yes, very good
That's
question. Thank you. Very good question. Okay, I'll start with the dyslexic. So, being dyslexic, so I never did. So, again, I remember at home, my dad, like sometimes I'd have to read to my dad, or reading and all of that, or him checking my work, and he was like, "What ball?" And see, I didn't know you're trying to say what ball. Like, what are you dumb? Like, I'll read it, Daddy. Daddy, like, and even till now, when I'm giving a speech, I have to have it really big and have I'm gonna pause. And even sometimes, so for me, my dyslexia is when I'm reading, I miss out words. When I'm writing, I miss out words. And I turn my numbers around.
Wow.
I turn my numbers around. So when I was doing my nursing, there was maths I had to do. Obviously, you had to do maths because you have to do your calculations, maths calculation when you're given medication and all of that. And I remember I had to do the test 10 times. So my last one, the 10th one, the teacher was like, "Look, we know." So I found out properly that I was dyslexic in uni. So all of this time through college, through school, they never really, said anything about it. So at uni, they were like, I had to go and have a test. I had to have a test at Middlesex University. I remember that very well. And I did the test. I'm like, "Oh my God, you're severe dyslexic." And they gave me a computer. So what the computer does is that it reads what you're saying, so that when you hear it, that, "Oh, I've missed out the," so you type in the. And it was so helpful with my dissertation, with everything that I was doing. So my maths, they were like, "This is going to be the last one. You really have to take your time. Otherwise, you can't be a nurse. Like we have to stop." And that test, I think I took my time. I didn't think they thought I was really going to take my time. I took my time. Like 2 hours for 2 questions. I took my time. And the time was for us dyslexic people, you have to read it over and over and over and over again to make sure that the answer that you have written is 64 and not 46. So I had to really take my time and just go over it. Like every question, I think I went over it about 100 times and I got 10 out of 10.
Oh.
Wow.
And they were like, "What? You got 10 out of 10? And I was like, "Yeah." Because you have to take your time.
Yeah.
And and sometimes even write my own application form. When I'm writing my date of birth, I'll put, instead of 1983, I'm putting 1938, and I'm like, "Oh my God, no, 1938. Come on, you're not that old." But so these are the things. And even like I remember using TomToms, SW8. You put to say so many things. My parents didn't understand it. It was only when I got older and when I started going to uni that I had to explain to them, "Oh, must be a dyslexic. This is what it is, blah, 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 blah," for them to really understand. And yes, the dyslexia. I hope I've answered the question. And what was the second question, Obed?
I asked what was the one of the hardest hurdle you had to overcome in life to reach where you are right now.
Okay. One of the most challenging situations that I've had was the GUBA USA. I had to raise quite a lot of money that I've never ever had to do before.
Wow.
And I left for the awards. The awards was on Thursday. I left for the awards on Wednesday to the US. And that was a very difficult time because I had invited all of these guests, all of these presidents have confirmed, all of these guests have confirmed, but I still haven't paid. I paid basically our venue the day of the awards.
Wow.
So yeah, that was a very, I lost weight. I wasn't eating.
Yeah.
People like, Dentaa, you've slimmed down or you slimmed down. Hey, if you knew what I was going through, that's why I've slimmed down. And I also remember GUBA Awards, I think last one in the UK, I had just had my 4th child, Anije, and I had a cesarean, and I think I was only like maybe 4 weeks to having surgery that the awards was, you know, the awards. And I remember I was in a lot of pain, but I had to, you know.
Yeah.
And that's, sometimes you have to do that. Sometimes you have to do that. You have to put on a brave face and get things done, you know, and then go home and, you know, shed your tears. Oh my God, like you're nearly dying, but you know, you have to put on that brave face and get it done. But you know, the journey has been up and down, because GUBA solely, you know, relies on sponsorship as an organization, and what is kind of disheartening is that, you know, everybody wants to see Dentaa. That's the problem that I have, especially when it comes to talking money matters. So unfortunately, some of them won't even see some of the GUBA team members. They're like, oh, Dentaa, when you're ready, you come to the office, you know, come to the office. And so those are very challenging times because, you know, even throughout pregnancy, I was having to go to meetings. And when I shouldn't be, you know, when I've got swollen feet, and, you know, during my pregnancy, I had, what's it called? Pregnancy diabetes. And I was just all over the place emotionally, you know, but you have to keep it going. And God gives strength somehow, somewhere. But yeah, so those have been some of the challenges. I remember even my second born, we're raising money for the GUBA Awards, and you know, the person's like, oh, we need to have a meeting. I was like 2 weeks into, all my children have been emergency cesareans, unfortunately, like cesareans. So 2 weeks into just having a baby, I've had to go to a meeting. My husband's in the car with the baby, you know, quickly try to do this sign off, you know, a sponsorship deal. And so, yeah, you will go through things. But my thing is that, you know, just keep going.
Yeah.
There is light at the end of the tunnel. And it may feel like as if, you know, the light is never showing up. But I don't know whether you've seen that picture that was on social media of this man that's he's like in an alley or something, and he's knocking a wall, and he's nearly there and he turns back, you know? So, you know, sometimes we have to keep going.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
So Sammy King Baden. Yeah.
Hi, Sammy.
And you seem to have gone through a lot, a huge lot. Really, cesareans for all 4, and
yes, a lot.
That's really, 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 really. I'm so amazed at the way you've gone this far. It's so great. My question is, how are you helping with most of the young ladies look up to you and what you have achieved? Your story is a whole lot to help so many women to know that they can do it, even if they are going through a whole lot, they still can do better. I want to know how you are putting things together to help women who see the challenges. Some think they've gone through one cesarean and they are too weak to do anything. and with your situation, you still have been able to do so much for yourself. What are you doing in terms of impacting the young ladies, especially those in Ghana? I think your story will be very good to help many of them. That's my question.
Thank you, Sammy, for the question. I mentor a few young ladies, so I do mentorship in terms of trying to encourage the young ones that are coming up that have business ideas. I do get a lot of requests. I can't take them all on, but I do have a lot of young women that I mentor, and for me as well, I support and educate people through my platform, through the Dentaa show. So for instance, I think Obed mentioned that I talked about being dyslexic on there. So when somebody brings up something, I share my experience. One of the other things I've done is I've gone to a few schools in Ghana as well, where I've shared my journey. And it's something that I want to continue to do. It's only been, unfortunately, in Accra, but you know, go to Kumasi, Sunyane, all of those places, and try and give back and share my story that way. But I do support everybody in the community. So for me, you know, somebody comes, Dentaa, can you post this? You know, my business, Dentaa, can you link me to someone? Just like Auntie Shirley said, if I can do it, I will do it. And for me, you know, I get very saddened by some people where, you know, you've asked them, I mean, I don't know, Instagram and in social media is very precious to people now. It's like they have to think about posting something for somebody. But if you check my social media, I promote and support a lot of things. It's not just about me on my platform, but it's about other organizations, what people are doing. Even if I haven't tasted the products or the person's just like, Dentaa, please, I'm new, can you do, share. And I'll post and I'll comment on it, or, you know. And so that's the way in which that I am giving back. But I am planning on doing my own book that way, and I'm planning on doing an audio book.
Yeah, that's what I was very interested in.
Yeah, an audio book for me, especially with some of us who are dyslexic and don't like to read too much. So I feel that an audio book would be really good, just to hear it, you know, listen to it whilst you're going to sleep and just, you know, be inspired by it.
That would be great.
Yeah, so those are the things that I'm working on.
Oh, that's good.
Thank you. So the next person is Nana Bempa. Nana, you raised your hand. Yeah.
Yeah. Dentaa, good evening, and thank you very much for your presentation. We are very, very amazed with it.
Thank you.
My name is Nana Bempa. I'm a CEO for MOB's Company Limited, and IT specialist, and also construction and then fabric production and designing. That's what we do. You've said a lot, and mine is a contribution to whatever you're saying. Whatever you've gone through, most of us have gone through same. But the problem here, you see, all that you were saying, what saved you most, from my own point of view, is not only your husband, but the environment that you started. The environment also helped. See, most young people in Ghana now, okay, as I talk now, I'm having about more than 4 to 5 proposals, business proposals. These young people, 20 years, 25, 30, 35, have business plans. And these people who are ahead of us, our politicians, those who are at the top, they will do everything possible to bring you down, to cut off those proposals. You go to many offices, and you know how our environment is. So it's very difficult for us also raising up our standards. We are checking all places to make things due. It's been very, very difficult. I don't know whether you've had such experience in Ghana yet. We've had some what do you call it, instances that some business opportunities or proposals that we will present or the youth will present. These big guys, these politicians or those at the top, they will pick your proposal and then make someone work it out. So how can we go up this way. You see?
Okay.
So
So
maybe the opportunity is you being there. You can also find a way with those at the top to help the youth. Because some are being quiet because they have the fear that if they bring out what they can do, it will be shut out later. Thank you very much.
thank you, Nana. So one of the things I forgot, because I do so much, I forget, but we are helping women SMEs. So we launched a fund with Roberta Annan and Adelaide, who does women entrepreneurship. So we've launched a fund where we are giving between 25,000 Ghana Cedi to 100,000 Ghana Cedi to invest in women entrepreneurs that have ideas, because like you said, there are a lot of talent out there, but it's just the opportunity they haven't been given. So this is a fund that we are doing to invest in these women. Already we've had about 300 proposals, and when I tell you the proposals are serious proposals, we launched it about 2 weeks ago, and you're just like, wow, we have all of this talent, all of these bright minds, and you know, they have no, and some of them only need like $5,000 to start, or you know, $2,000 to start. It's nothing. But we are doing our little bit where we can to support the youth. And, you know, I can't speak for everybody, but for me, Dentaa is something that I believe in. It's something that I do as part of, you know, who I am. And so this fund, we've launched it. You know, if you have, you know, some of the girls that have written proposals to you, I will share the link with Mara Shirley. And then you can send it out to them for them to use. But it's something that we have started to help the community as well.
Thank you. So, Bonabe Foundation, yeah, if you can ask your question, please.
All right. Good evening, Auntie Shirley, and good evening to you, Dentaa.
Good evening.
I was actually enjoying some banku and pepper. I know you miss it there. Whilst I was listening to you. Anyway, just by the way. So picking up from your submission in the early stage of the presentation, you made a statement about how Africans are not helping themselves. And it is real, it is sickening here in Africa, as you know. I recently deleted myself from a philanthropic platform. And why would I delete myself? Because of the competition I was having on the platform, where I thought it was a platform of good-minded people or noble people. I realized that competition itself in philanthropic is very sad. And it's about our race as Africans. Because cast your mind back to the US, where the inventor of Facebook did something grievously, you understand? But instead of the big men to collapse him, they rather called him and they taught him on how and what to do to correct his mistakes with issue of the privacy. Not only Facebook, not only Mark Zuckerberg, a lot of them, Apple, they have all made mistakes. But in Africa, where we are today, anytime the big men see a young chap coming out with an idea, they look for a way to kill you. They will look for a way to kill that vision. And it's really sad because you consider a place like Rwanda and you'll be amazed about the things you see there. The oldest person around the president in Rwanda is less than 30 years, the one who is the oldest. Because the man has surrounded himself with the youth and they are giving him the youthful advice he deserves, and Rwanda is soaring higher every day. So I think we all have to pray for Africans because the pull him down syndrome is not ending any soon. It's killing us and it's killing businesses, it's killing ideas, it's killing whatever it is that will make Africa great again. That was my first submission. But since we are talking about entrepreneurship, I want to ask you personally that from a pick out from your submission, I realized that most of the people you got to start GUBA with were all volunteers, if I may say.
100%, yes.
Exactly. So how did you start to migrate them, and what criteria did you use to start paying them? Because once they were with you when GUBA was nothing, I believe now GUBA is in a very good standing to be giving some allowances or whatever it is, or payment. How did you do that? What criteria did you use in order to get them along? Because those that started with you must definitely be appreciated. And how did you do it? Because some of us are running organizations like NGOs, and now there's no money, people are helping us. Yeah. How do we migrate them when things began to be sweeter a bit, if I may borrow that word? Thank you very much, Madam Chair.
Thank you so much. So the first thing is that GUBA is a non-for-profit organization. Okay. And so we are still running voluntary. Okay. But what we've managed to do is that, you know, we've managed to open an office in Ghana. Okay. Where we employed one of our staff who was part of the GUBA organization, Claudia. She moved to Ghana, and we said, you know, you were here with us. I wouldn't want to employ anybody from outside. For sure. And I'd rather employ somebody that has been with me, knows about GUBA, sure, to be the manager at the office. And she agreed, and she's working with us. But what you find with a social enterprise is that the money that comes in goes back out. Yeah. And so sure, you're not, we don't have people on the payroll, only the GUBA Ghana office are on the payroll. But like I said, I have been blessed with a team that selfless people. Yeah, that just love Africa and love Ghana. That their passion is just like, look, we have our own full-time jobs. You know, they have their own full-time jobs. So GUBA is voluntary, you know, off hours when they're, even though they do on hours when they're even at work, but you know, they work when they have the time to work it. Sure. But I think that, you know, and what I do as well as a person is that when an opportunity comes, so if there's, for instance, you know, one of our graphic designers, if there's an opportunity that comes and somebody needs a t-shirt, I remember Darren, you know, so you recommended. I recommended him, so, you know, so that he gets that gig and he gets money that way. Sure. You know, so it's very important that when you're not paying somebody, you offer them opportunities. Exactly. You offer them opportunities. Exactly. That's true. And so if there's anything that comes up that I feel like, oh, you could work on that. Oh, so for instance, the Prince Charles thing that we did, you know, it wasn't a big budget, but I brought the team over. You know, we flew them over. We catered for their hotel and accommodation. They were looked after. You know, and they got an opportunity to see their family members and, you know, do whatever they'll do after the event. So these are the things that you need to make sure that you give them to let them feel appreciated, you know. And I also appreciate them. We have a WhatsApp group. Once in a while, you appreciate one person a week. You know, you make people feel, it's just, people just want you to say thank you sometimes, or just recognize that they are there, you know, and what they're putting in. So it's very, very important that to keep a good team, you show appreciation. And that's something that we do as an organization. All right. Thank you very much, Auntie. You're welcome.
All right. Ohima Foundation.
Hello, everyone. Hi. Thank you, Mama. Hi. Thank you so much, Dentaa, for your story that you shared with us. I have a question concerning, so there's this idea with Africans that as a young woman, when you have a career, you can combine it with having a family. So sometimes you have to, as a woman, you have to, you know, submit, and you have to do this, and you have to do that, and you have to be there for your family. You have to. I want to know, how did you manage to have a career and also have a family on the side?
Okay, so that's not true. It can be done. So I got married at the age of 24 to my husband, and I had my first child when I was 25. And I guess sometimes about having the right partner, you know. I've just, honestly, thank God for this husband of mine, but he has been a blessing. He is somebody that understands. And I always say, well, you gave me GUBA. You told me to do this presenting. So how are we going to manage it? We both have to balance the equation. And so I've had a very supportive husband who jumps in when, you know, it needs to be jumped in. And also what I try to do as much as possible is that when I travel, I try to be back in London at crucial times in my children's life. So things that they will remember. They'll remember their birthdays.
Yeah.
They'll remember their Christmas plays, you know, because all family members are there and it's like, you're not there. So I try and balance that. That's something that I try not to joke with, because I know that that's the point where they will miss me more and they will realize that I'm not there more. And the other thing that I do is that all of the children, every single one of them, have been to meetings with me.
Yeah.
So that they know what mummy does. And, you know, thankfully, every meeting that I've been to, that I've taken my child, the person has been okay with it. And they get to see what mummy does. I remember one time my son's school, they were doing something, and the teacher came to me and said, oh, we didn't realize all that you do. Your son, we were doing like inspirational people or people that you looked up to, and your son wrote about you. And I was like, wow, and I was taken back. You know, you don't realize that actually the impact that he's feeling about his mother. And so, you know, I feel like those are really important things, and you need to be able to communicate with your partner. So they understand what you're doing as well, and they're able to support you. And you know, when my husband is not there, my mum is there. You know, my sister is there. I've got a very supportive family who really, you know, believe in what I'm doing and are there to support. So it can be done. I know even, and even me that I'm married, okay, I'm doing it. But there are single mothers. I know Cynthia Quirkle, she's one of my mentors. She has 6 children. She's a lawyer. And if you see the stuff that this woman is doing, you're like, wow. I asked her, how do you do it? Because even me, I have a partner that can support, but she doesn't. And she's a go-getter. She is just absolutely amazing. And she has 6 children, you know. The other day I was having a conversation on my Dentaa show to a lady called Spirit. She has 7 children. And I mean, it can be done. It's how far do you want to go? And it's, you know, really being able to communicate with your partner and the people around you, that support system that will be able to help you do it. And even if they don't, there's outsiders who will support you. And sometimes you won't get inside people supporting you, get outsiders supporting you. So you must be open to that. And everything is based on prayer. You know, you have to be careful who you're giving your children to. Yes, that needs to be done. So you need to make sure that you're praying about it, that God gives you the right person. So that's what I would say. There's nothing that's impossible in this world. People are doing it. You wouldn't imagine, like, I mean, when this woman told me she had 7 children, I was like, what? With everything that you do? Me 4, and I'm like, 4 cry, like, I'm like, 8, you know? But there's people who are doing it more than you think that you are doing it. They are doing it even more. So it can be done.
All right. Thank you very much.
Right. Obed, I can see you. Just want to ask another question because the hand is still raised.
Yes, please.
Wow. Okay, go on.
Yeah. Auntie Dentaa, you're involved in the science when it comes to the pediatric nursing. And then you're also involved in the arts when it comes to the shows and stuff like that. There's this trend, which is an undeniable fact that the whole world is moving towards science and technology. But if you come to our parts of the world, if you come to most parts in Africa, you find out that this ideology is actually turning to degrade some of the factors, fields of education when it comes to the arts, law and stuff like that, because you go to schools and you find our teachers telling us that don't go into the arts, go into the science and stuff like that. So the ideology of the world moving towards science and technology is actually tending to degrade some of the fields in education like the arts. And I'm asking, what is your take on that topic? And what would you tell young people who are actually, especially those who are graduating into the senior high school right now?
Yeah, thank you, Obed. I think the arts is look, creative arts and arts is under tourism, right? And that is $1 billion industry. We as Africans have not put our structures right in terms of, you know, even royalties. We've been talking about royalties for artists. Sometimes you see some of the musicians and they've made such beautiful music, but you see them in the news saying that they don't have 10,000 Ghana cedi we looked after, you know. So our creative art industry, we need to put a system in place where people are getting paid and leaving a legacy for their children. Somebody, you know, when you go to America, you know that Michael Jackson's music, even though he has passed away, his music is still making money for his family. Okay, so we need to make sure that these things are happening in Africa. You know, we have our actors and actresses that are, you know, getting sick and we're doing GoFundMe for them. This shouldn't be happening. You know, whenever their thing is played on TV, they should be getting royalties from that. So I think that the arts has a major part to play in our economy, and it's something that really needs to be looked at. I know that Reggie and Boli are doing something on it right now. I think they're going to be doing a stakeholders meeting with the minister and all of that to try and figure out what can be done. Because even when you look at these streaming, you know, iTunes, you know, people are getting paid for that. There's no system that we have in Africa that's our own, that people who are playing our music, the artist gets paid from. So I think that the youth shouldn't be discouraged when it comes to the arts. I think there's a big opportunity there, but we just need to get the structures right, to enable us to really make money from it, because the outside world is making money from it. Even the producers, the people that are making the beats, I think even in America, I think the people that make the beats even get more money than the artist, you know. But you'll find that actually they're not making that much money, and the artists are now relying on shows to be able to survive. So if your music doesn't hit and if DJs are not playing it, you don't get a show, you don't get paid.
Yeah.
And they're relying on the streaming, and if people are not streaming, then it's an issue. So I think that it is a big industry. It shouldn't be forgotten, but we need to put the structures right for that. And I think also, you know, touching on science and technology is another thing. We have some amazing tech people out there that are serious people. And if we invest in them and put in a little resources, the innovation, I mean, look at this COVID-19, what has come out from Ghana Innovation. We've had these people building these sinks and I mean, just using their minds, you know, to create these things. And I think there's loads more of that to come. You know, we've had the young people in, I think, KNUST that have done the testing kits that takes 15 minutes. I think they're waiting for FDA approval or whatever. But, you know, we can do it. It's just having the right people to give us that opportunity for us to be able to move forward.
Thank you.
Right. Elena Nshaba.
Hello.
Elena? Yes, go on.
Thank you so much. Dentaa, hello.
Hi.
So your story is such an inspiration to some of us. God bless you so much. I wanted to ask you, in terms of your organization, as you stated earlier, that it's an NGO. When you're going to solicit for funds, you go to the target organization who are in line with your vision or the project you're going to do at the time, or the people you think they can help you.
So you have to. So obviously, your foundation has its aims on and objectives. So our aim at the time, we were looking at autism. Okay, So with autism, what we did was that we did a campaign to the public, and people donated to the fund. Also, you'll find that there's, you know, some websites and some funding places that you can find funding from, as long as it fits. You know, you have to look at what fits your criteria. So you have to see whether that organization supports children with autism, because they all also have their criteria and what they're looking at. So some might be saying, oh, we're looking at education in Africa, or we're looking at whatever. Do you understand? So you need to make sure that you are, when you're Googling funding that supports what you are doing. Otherwise you won't get the fund. But also what you can do is that you look at organizations for instance, I think Vodafone in Ghana looks at education or whatever. And so you can go to them, to Vodafone, and say, look, my foundation also looks at education. This is what I'm doing. This is my plan. This is my blah, blah, blah. And they will then support you. But every organization has what they support. And so you need to make sure that you research on that and then pitch what you're doing to the organization for them to be able to invest in you.
Okay, thank you.
You're very welcome.
Then can I just add, since we're talking funding and maybe might be beneficial to others on here, you know, to add to that, you know, even if you're an NGO, and I think I mentioned that when I spoke to the group last month, try and diversify your funding. So then, you know, GUBA's doing well looking at funding from members of the public, from organizations. Try and, you know, look at if there's a service that you can provide and get some funding into your organization, you can provide that service and get funding, as long as the funding is reinvested, you know, whatever income comes in or profit you make from producing that service is reinvested in the charity, you know, or the NGO, you know, that helps. So look at diversifying your funding. Don't just go to, you know, third parties to fund your organization. And I think that is why you can see that under the GUBA brand, you've got Expo, you've got GUBA, Rock Your African Print, GUBA Foundation, because that is how, you know, that is how you can make it the business, or, you know, the not-for-profit business very sustainable.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Thank you. Richard, you have to unmute yourself. Yeah. You have to unmute yourself, Richard. Yeah, go on.
I have, Mom. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Good evening, everyone.
Hi, Richard.
Yeah, please. There's something I think I have done personal research about it, and I think the NGOs in Ghana and to help those who are that the government will look at that sector. I found out that when you want to
oh no,
the internet is really bad. A lot of people can't join.
You need to find a foreign partner to partner. Hello.
Hi, Richard. Your phone is breaking. Your reception is not great.
Yeah, please, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Can you hear me now? Yeah.
Yes.
What I'm saying is that I have noticed that in Ghana, if someone wants to have an NGO, before they will grant you the registration, you need to have a foreign partner before the Ghana Registrar General will grant you a certificate to own an NGO. And I think it is disturbing a lot, because someone who doesn't have a friend in abroad, or someone who doesn't have anyone abroad who willing to support him or her to come out with an idea to support others who are in need, how can that person be able to grant a certificate to run an NGO? So I think the organization and NCVO-GHANA can push an agenda to in the government sector that the government will flexible certain things so that people can come in more and more and help those who are also willing to share their what they have to the needies. Thank you.
Thank you. Because that was more of a comment.
Thank you.
A question.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank
yes,
you
please.
so much, Richard.
Okay. I think it's been a very, very informative day. So far, I think no one else wants to ask a question. So, wow. I don't even know what to say. It's been such an awesome day. Dentaa, thank you so much. A lot of people can't join. A lot of people are trying to join from Ghana, but apparently it's raining in Ghana. So a lot of people are having issues trying to join. But hopefully we've done the recording so we can send it to those who are able to join. But thank you so much for your time. I mean,
thank you for having me.
And the experience. We can just go on and on, but obviously we can't do that. So, oh, right. Someone has just raised their hand. Equia.
I did as well.
You did? Oh, so sorry, my darling. Okay. We'll just give Equia and then Amma, then that's it. Equia, go on. Come off. Equia, can you unmute yourself? All right, Amma. Amma, go on, because I don't think she can hear
okay.
You. Yeah.
Hi, Sister Shirley, Dentaa, everyone. Yeah, Dentaa, that was very moving. Really, really inspirational story. And you're very, very creative, very humble. I mean, I've met you twice, once at GUBA and once at Sister Shirley's event. Yeah. And I can honestly put my hand up and say you're one of the most loveliest people ever. Some of the things that I just wanted to know is that how do you support like the young Ghanaians through your GUBA awards? Because I was just thinking that when you do the GUBA awards, is there any way that you can bring in like the upcoming Ghanaian children who would like so something like fashion, or children that are like really good with ICT, children that I don't know, that can sing? Like how do you support? And when I say children, I mean like maybe between 11 and 18-year-olds. Is there a way that you sort of allow people to recognize them and see what they're doing? Or is there room for them to grow through GUBA?
Yeah, definitely. Thank you, Amma. So we have even a category for young and talented. We've had a 5-year-old that got an award that had written 2 books that was on Amazon. We've recognized, I think he was 8 at the time, a Formula 1 car racer who's really big now. He's doing amazing things. Also, we've had young people introduce the show, so singing gospel at the beginning. We've had young people do that. So we bring, and then we've had voluntary young people volunteer on the day to help out. So we give that opportunity as well. So yeah, it's something that GUBA continues to do that. We definitely extend our hands to the younger generation.
So would that be like, meaning that maybe like a child from Ghana can probably, so I'm just thinking out the box now. So, you know, like with this coronavirus going on and everything, like people have started wearing things like masks and stuff like that. Is there room for like maybe like a child in Ghana to say, oh, I can sew this, I can do this. When you go to London, can you sort of like sell it at the GUBA? Can you make money from it and support us back in Ghana? I don't know. I'm just thinking of the way how the less privilege come into the GUBA from Ghana into...
So we've had like with the GUBA Expo, I mean, not those ages because it's difficult for them to get visas, especially when we've done the GUBA Expos, it's been like school time. So there's no way that the UK government will give them visas to come to the UK.
No, not for them to come. For them to probably give you some items. So you probably bring items over from maybe less underprivileged.
Yeah, the GUBA Expo does that. So we basically, we do like a market store in Woolwich, like a 2-day market, open market, where we promote made in Ghana products, and the SMEs come over. So even if the person wasn't able to come over, like you're saying, they could give it to one of the people to come and sell it, and they get their money. So that's something that we do as well. We do that.
Okay, so then Dentaa, please, when that does happen, is there any way that advertising, like how do we get to know? Because this is something that we're kind of like missing out in London.
Okay, no,
kind of like missing out supporting.
So please go on the GUBA GUBA Enterprise website. So it's www.gubaenterprise.co.uk and sign up to our newsletter. Okay. So once you sign up to our newsletter, or if you follow me on my social media, Dentaa_show on Instagram and Twitter, I always, post what we are currently doing and, what things are happening. And also one of the things that we did do last year is that I brought, we did a GUBA nurses voluntary program. So we took nurses from the UK to work in Ghana for 2 weeks. And what we've able to do, but because of lockdown, is that I've managed to get 5 hospitals in the UK where Ghanaian nurses from Ghana will come to the UK to work for 6 months.
That's amazing.
Oh, wow.
And gain that experience and then take it back. I've also managed to get some schools in the UK that will take teachers from Ghana. And again, vice versa, that experience, they come here, they learn, and they take back. So those are the things that we are currently, we did the nursing program last year, but we've got the hospitals already, but it's just COVID. Once COVID is over, we will be doing a search for nurses, 5 in each hospital, to be able to come to the UK and work for 6 months. And
that's excellent. Yeah. That's excellent. Okay, I can see Jerry has raised his hand up. Jerry, can you hear me? So you can ask your question now.
Yes, please, I can.
Hi, Jerry.
Can you hear me, please?
Yes, please.
Hello. Good evening once again.
Good evening.
Okay, my name is Jerry Bishop. I am a branch staff, and I'm the team leader of Code Nation 1967, Code 67. And also I'm the founder of Last year, I was really dying to meet you, so I was telling Auntie Shirley I want to find out how is it to meet. I want to bring you my things here and then
okay. I think Jerry,
Jerry wants to meet me, eh?
Yes, and also Jerry, you know, last year when we had events and you came with your husband.
Was Jerry there?
Yeah, he was there. But
why did he talk to me?
He wasn't too sure. It was after.
Oh, Jerry, what miss opportunity? What miss it?
But Jerry does this lovely kinky called the Abroni.
Oh, wow.
And next time when you come to Ghana, I have to get him to bring you some. So
sure.
I will have to arrange that. Yeah.
Jerry, you will see me once the borders open and I land in Accra. I'm just waiting for the president to sneeze. It's open and I'm at the airport. So please, through Auntie Sheila, we'll definitely meet.
Okay. Wow. Thank you. One more time.
Can I ask one more question? Sister Shirley, sorry.
Go on.
Sister Shirley.
Yes, Amma, go on.
Yeah. Dentaa, is there anything that you can't do? because I've seen you dance and you can dance good. You can dance, you're bad, like literally bad. You can dance bad. Like you're a wicked dancer. You could cook. You could do all these amazing things. What can't you do? Like you're going to be writing a book. You've done all this lovely stuff, GUBA. You've done so many amazing things. What can't you do?
That's a good question.
So you can do everything because you're finding that they're difficult to answer. So you can.
No, I really honestly believe that God has given us tools to do whatever we want if we have faith in it and believe in it. And I also believe that sometimes even though sometimes God gives us a vision, he also wants us to give it to somebody else to do.
Yes.
Okay? But you're still connected to it. Because that person will always acknowledge you and say, oh, Dentaa did this. Dentaa was part of that. And so, you know, you still get that recognition. And so it's really important that not everything that not every vision that you get is for you, but it's also for you to think about, oh, Amma was talking about that. This would be right on a street.
Amen.
You know?
Amen.
So I think that it's really, really important that, you know, as much as I have so much ideas, there are things that I've birthed into others. And because of, you know, what they do, that you always will get that appreciation and that recognition. So that's something that's also important. But I believe that there's nothing that's impossible. And, you know, through prayer and consistency, persistency, you know, dedication, you can do it.
Yes, yes. It's lovely. I love that.
You're welcome.
Okay, so Dentaa, one more time, thank you so much for your time. Thank you. So unfortunately, a lot of people couldn't join in from Ghana because, I mean, the amount of texts and phone calls I've been receiving here, so I can't join because I think it's raining. It's so sad that they couldn't join, but we're going to send them the recording. But I just want to say thank you so much. Anytime that I call on you, you are always there. And I also want to say that you inspire me so much. Just like Amma said, what can't you do? But all I can say is it's just the grace of God. Everybody is different. God has blessed you. God has graced you, you know. So thank you so much. I love you so much. I mean, I love you too. I love you so much. And your husband, we want to say thank you to your husband because your husband has also been an inspiration, as you said.
Yes.
So thank you very much. God bless you. And may God continue to increase you. You forgot to tell about the award that you just received. You have to tell us that before you go. Yeah.
I received a leadership award for during COVID-19, what I've been able to do. So looking at, you know, I didn't even mention Private Hammond. So Private Hammond is a campaign that we were doing. So he's a 95-year-old veteran that did 2 miles a day to raise money for nurses and frontline workers during COVID-19. So he was inspired by Tom Moore, you know, that 100-year-old man that did, you know, 100 laps in his garden, but he was inspired by that. So far, we've raised £27,000 for that. You know, his aim was to get, you know, 500,000, but we're still pushing, we're still going. And, you know, with what we've been doing as the GUBA enterprise, you know, the GUBA talks, the seminars on mental health, on, you know, autism, on building your business during COVID-19, and through my conversations that I've been having, and also me working as a nurse during COVID-19, they, you know, they gave me a leadership award for what I've been doing during COVID-19. So I received that last week. And I'm grateful for that.
Wow, we are so proud of you. I mean, you make Ghanaians proud, especially Ghanaian women. You know, when we look at you, you always say that everything can be achieved because within a short time, you've achieved so much. And you make it look so easy. And you are such a humble person, you know. So I'm so glad that you are part of NCVO-GHANA. Really. So thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you
so much. So humble. She was very early. I mean, Dentaa, God, all I can say is God bless you.
God bless you. Hey, I can't be late for my mommy. I had to make sure I'm on time. I have to be on time.
You have to be on time for your sweet mom. I mean, God bless you. I just don't know what to say, to be honest. As I said earlier on, since we started NCVO-GHANA, you've helped us. I just have to pick up the call, you know. And as I said, anytime I'm in Ghana, you're also in Ghana. It's just so wonderful. You are in Ghana, I picked up the phone, I'll come to your hotel, we'll spend time together. You know, all I can say is thank you so much. So everybody who's hearing me today, Dentaa is the backbone of NCVO-GHANA. You know, so let's all give her a clap offering. She's done so well for NCVO-GHANA. And we love you. We are proud of you, as I said, as a Ghanaian and also as a woman, because you are paving way for some of us. So may God richly bless, and I'm sure we'll continue this conversation again.
Amen.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, everybody. Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye. Bye. Oof. Yeah.
Mom, when are you going to Ghana?
When they open the we don't know yet, but this is Christmas by God's grace. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we plan for.
Amen. Emmanuel.
God,
yes, ma'am.
I'll be there too.
Nana Bempa, I can see Nana Bempa. Hima is there. Finally, Kenneth, you're able to join us. Where are you?
Madam, I'm doing well, madam. Please, you.
Oh, I miss you too. I miss all of you.
Mommy, hurry up and come home. Hurry up and come home.
I'll come.
Mom, why Presley and other guys couldn't join us?
I don't know. She was supposed to. The internet has been very, very bad today in Ghana.
Yes, please.
Really, really, really bad. A lot of people struggle to join.
Sure.
Yeah. All right. I hope you enjoyed the session.
Oh, yes. So much.
Something. Yeah, good.
I came in late. Sorry, please. You'll be glad if we could get access to the recording, please.
Yes, I'll send it to you. I'll send it to you. As soon as I get the recording,
Well,
I'll send it to all of you.
Couldn't join at the earlier stage.
Okay. Yes, I know, because you're trying to join, weren't you? All right, guys. Thank you so much. God bless you all.
God bless you. Thank you, Shirley.
Bye, Jerry.
Yes, Mom.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Grace, bye, everyone. Amasewa, did you enjoy the session?
Oh, it was amazing.
We thank God.
I loved it. I'm
glad you loved it.
Yeah, it was really
and my
good.
daughter, of course. Did you enjoy it? It's gone. All right, bye, everyone.
Okay, so Shirley, I'll speak to you. I'll call you.
Please do.
I will.
All right.
I will.
Bye-bye.
Okay. All right, bye.